Thanks for being my guinea pig with the music, One Fire. So I don't know how to mute my mic, like the built-in mic in Streamlabs, so I'll have to figure that out. I was trying to figure it out before, but all Google told me was like, look in your mixer when you go live and it will be in there, and I'm like, bullshit, it's not there. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where to find it. But I also always feel like such a noob with this stuff because, like, I look at all of these options in Streamlabs and I'm like, derpy derp. No idea. But how are you today, Onefire? Are you home now? I started a little later today than I did last week. But mostly because last week when I started at 3:30, um, that was kind of a mistake, since I was still working. But that's okay. That is okay. So I have a whole lesson plan for today. We're going to be discussing shutter speed. Yes, you are home after a very shitty day at work. I'm sorry, why was it shitty? The whole palette, didn't collapse, did it? Or something? Why was it shitty? My day was fine. I feel like I just bore people when I talk about my job. Answered emails. A pallet did collapse, but yes, that's not the shitty part. It's just a lot of trucks coming in and new management going, hey, we need to do more work. Yeah. New managers coming in acting like they know what's going on and what you guys have been doing forever. Also, it's starring out your swear words, and I'm sure that's a setting that I have on, potentially. I'm not sure. Because I'm trying to figure that out now. Maybe not. Maybe it's a you thing. I don't know. That's exactly it, and I don't really care about the stars. I should probably not swear so much, but I work with nothing but dudes. I think I swear more than people think I do. It's okay. I don't mind. They're just words. Like, I say the F word a lot. And I don't know why. It's not like my husband says the F word a lot, so it's not like I have that influence there. I just tend to swear. Hi, Tessa. How are you? But I'm sorry that your day was tough. That's never fun. And I know, your days are usually like, meh. So for you to have a shitty day, I'm really sorry. But I'm glad you're home now. Now you get to relax. Are you gonna take a drink from the bar in the dining room? Cause I probably would after a shitty day. Just saying. And I know you have the hookup where you're currently residing. I mean, also your job. I think I like your advice. Why not? Have a drink for Valentine's Day. Oh, that's fine. Do it if you need an excuse. Tessa, you're good. You're calming down from your unhingedness from earlier. Honestly, it was awesome. I was like, I have never heard her talk so adult before, and it was very entertaining. I liked it. I'll take unhinged Tessa any day. It was honestly funny. Like, I was over here cracking up. Like, I'm supposed to be all serious answering these emails from these clients, and I'm I'm all serious in email and all giggly like in person. Quite the juxtaposition. I'm glad I could entertain. You are always entertaining. You are always entertaining. That's why I watch you like every day while I work. And then even when I can't watch you because I have meetings or whatever else, I'm like, I'll just lurk while I do that. Like, I'm kind of sad. It's like I never have to go into the office, but tomorrow I have to go into the office. So I have worked with this one person like since day one that I started at this company, which was back in 2018. But this person lives in Minnesota, so they tend to work remote. So COVID happened. So I've met this person like in person, face to face. I've met them before, her before, and that was when I was in customer service with this company. Well, now I am an account manager or a business development manager, apparently officially according to HR. So since I've been a business development manager, I have not seen her in person. And she used to be like my manager, like who I went to, like who I answered to and stuff. So I'm very excited that she finally got to travel and be in town. Basically, she's had a lot of health issues that has prevented her from being able to travel since COVID began. So she'll finally be able to come down to Colorado to our office. So I'm driving up to the office tomorrow to see her, and I'm very excited. And we're going to have happy hour. So heads up, One Fire, I will not be at trivia tomorrow. I am very sorry. Very sorry. I'll be at a happy hour instead. Sorry. Yeah, I get to drive my brand new car, which I'm a little nervous about because the office is far away. Like, it's not like I just have to go like down the street or whatever. Like, it's an hour away. Have happy hour at trivia. If the office was not in Longmont, like if the office was like closer to Denver, I would definitely propose that, but happy hour is gonna be in Longmont. Sorry. Yes, new car. Yes, new car. Yeah, not gonna lie, I've been trying to think of a name for my new car, because I have named all of my previous vehicles. My first vehicle was a 1999, I think it was 99. Might have been a 97. I think it was a 97. A 1997 Mercury Cougar, who was named Roxy because she was a cougar. And apparently that to me is like a cougar name. Like if you know the song Roxanne by the Police, then you might understand why-ish. But yeah, so her name was Roxy. And then I had a Volkswagen Beetle named Becca's Bug. BB for Becca's Bug. Are you telling me some random person that you've only met once gets to ride in a new car before I... Yes. Maybe. She does have a rental car, so I don't know if she will actually ride in my car. She'll probably come outside and be like, ooh, pretty. I'd want to see it, but I don't know if she'll actually ride in it. Because she'll have a rental car. So, maybe not. Yeah, and my Volkswagen Beetle was a 2001, and it was blue, and it had a Cubs Suck sticker on the bumper, which was great because I am a Twins fan, Minnesota Twins, and that, yeah, so BB for Becca's Bug. I've had a lot of cars. And then I had a 1999 Mercury Sable, and her name was Charlotte because she was a classy lady. She had leather seats and a moonroof, and she like pretty much died of old age when it comes to like car terms. Her head gasket blew. R.I.P. Charlotte. I think Roxy is still driving the streets of La Crescent, Minnesota. I think is where she currently is. I don't know though. I have no idea what happened to Becca's Bug. But yeah, so Roxy, BB for Becca's Bug, Charlotte, and then I had my Chevy Malibu, which I moved down to Colorado with, and that one was named Avenger because like 2 weeks after I had bought this vehicle, somebody else was driving it and they drove it into the dock, into a dock on the Mississippi River. So yeah, that happened. I also had a Jeep Cherokee, which I named Chief. Creative. And then I had a little Chevy Cobalt that was like a purpley gray, and I named that one Kool-Aid because it was the color of grape Kool-Aid. And then I had my RAV4. Rest in peace, RAV4. And that one was named Stormtrooper because the front of the car looked like a Stormtrooper helmet. So I'm standing in the garage earlier today staring at my brand new car. And I'm like, I don't know if I can name it yet. Because like I'm going to get it wrapped like in imbeccable green. So I'm like, I don't know if I can name it until after it's wrapped. Because right now it's silver and I don't want to name it something having to do with silver if it's going to end up being green. So I don't know. But I definitely like just had this moment where I was just standing outside of my garage, staring at my new car, going, what am I going to name you? Couldn't think of anything. It'll come to me. I've only had it for, since last Saturday? It's like Saturday night, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. This is my third day of owning this car. And OneFire, if you want to, you could just, like, head over this evening and I'll give you a little ride around the block and then we can say that you're the first person besides Jeremy and my dogs to get a ride in the car. But not if you're drinking now. I only name cars I hate. I know you've said that before. I don't really name cars that I hate, but I just call everybody on the road that either has an expired license plate or bad drivers. I call them bad noodles. No, it's okay, LOL. You don't want to come over just for like a ride around the block in the new car? That's fine. No, what was really funny was, so Sunday we went over to my husband's parents' house for the Super Bowl, and I don't know why, but I was fully expecting them to want to like come outside and like check out the new wheels. No, we pull up, I parked on the street in front of their house, and like I always open the trunk and the dogs run out and they either go inside or Jeremy, my husband, opens the gate to the backyard, and the dogs just go there. But so like I let the dogs out and I go inside the house and both of his parents are standing there at the window and they're like, your car looks nice. Like, thanks. Figured you'd like want to go see it, but if you just want to view it from the window, that's fine. Winter is coming. I mean, kind of. Each time I look it up, I mean, it does look overcast right now. But each time I look up the weather, it says like 1 to 3 inches, and I'm like, meh. That's nothing. That's fine. I can deal with that. I can drive with that. So I'm a little sad. So I came up with 3 polls to do today in stream, and apparently that's one of those things that's locked until, I forget what you call it, until you have like 50 followers. So I can't do my polls. My famous, as I call them, the witch BS polls. But like seriously, I had this little notebook and I had them written down in here. I was like, I have 3 polls lined up. We're going to get chat involved. This is going to be great. And then I went live and I logged in as Green Witch on my laptop, who is like my mod, but it's just me. And I did like /poll. And I'm like, no, it's not there. So apparently I can't do polls yet because I'm not cool enough, which is a little sad for me because I'm like, I love polls. I love those polls. I know. I'm glad you love those polls because now that you made me a mod on your channel, I can make my BS polls. You're cool in my heart. Thanks, Tessa. Appreciate it. Now I just need Twitch to think I'm cool, so will let me do my polls. That'd be great. Just checking because I have my work laptop open over here. Just some end of the day reports coming in. Heart cat. Heart cat. But yeah, I'm a little sad. So maybe, I don't know. I thought about just like asking them now, but I'm like, what am I gonna do? Be like, option 1 is this. Option 2 is this. So maybe I'll just save them for when I unlock polls. But yeah, I was a little sad. I have like this. So like, I don't know if you've ever gotten, like went shopping for Christmas at Barnes and Noble, but they tend to like have this like free journal that they'll give you if you purchase like a certain amount around the holidays. So this was like the book from maybe not like last Christmas, but like Christmas 2021. Might have been that or the year before. So like I've used it for a random number of things. So these are all old notes that I don't need anymore, and I pulled the pages like this so that when I open the book, I can just go to the page that I want to reference. So this is like where I've started doing like stream notes, except my brain is random sometimes. So like along with Imbeccable stuff, for some reason, I wrote like the lyrics to like that Lionel Richie song. I cannot figure out camera stuff. But yeah, and then like I do like these little symbols. I'm like ideas. But then I'll just randomly throw in like little doodles and stuff. But yeah, so here's my little ideas for polls that I don't get to use today. But I will eventually. I think. Hopefully. So I guess I'll just put that over there since I won't need it. But otherwise, everything else that I had planned for today should work because I have a full presentation today for how to use shutter speed to manipulate your photos. And then we're actually going to walk through how to make a sound wave image. And the way I do sound waves is with animals. So like I take a picture of an animal that I have taken. I find or I will have a recording of the animal making a sound. And then I'll make a sound wave out of it. This is a pretty recent idea that I had for like Imbeccable Images stuff. So I don't do the wave. Woo! So like I didn't used to record animals, but now like if I go to the zoo and an animal's making a noise, I try to record it so I can use my own noise, like sound files. But honestly, like there's some animals that you like I've just never heard make a noise like the one that we are going to do today, and that's all I should say about it so that it's a surprise when we get there. Okay. Alright. And I have no dogs with me today. They didn't want to be in here today. Is it a fox? No. It's not a fox, but I could do a fox for one of my future sound waves. I do have pictures of foxes. But I am going to switch over to my sharing screen. And by the way, I added this little bar. I feel like this just shows like my selfishness. There's like the I want emotes, wrong finger. I want emotes bar at the bottom. Because I want emotes, and apparently I should change that to I want polls now because I want polls. I want polls and I want emotes. So that's just like a follower meter. All right. So, as promised last week, and as I briefly mentioned this morning, we will be discussing shutter speed today. It's the second of the trifecta. Last week we discussed the first, which was aperture. So this week the focus is on shutter speed. I'm telling you, I really did put together a full presentation because apparently I just could not help my type A personality this week. So here we go. Title slide. Learn photography. Shutter speed. I like how you put yourself in the camera. Thanks, Lundberg. I like it too. That's probably like one of the things I'm most proud of with my layout. And if you see me looking over here, it's because I can't see the chat on my main screen when I'm presenting stuff. But I have my laptop over here where I'm logged in as Greenwich so that I can keep up on chat. But thank you. Like I said, it's one of my favorite things that I have done with my layouts. All right, so just like last week, I had 3 main takeaways for like the lesson of the day. So the 3 main takeaways for learning shutter speed is 1, the higher the shutter speed number, the more blurriness there's going to be in your pictures, and that's even with a tripod. 2, the standard shutter speed for handheld cameras is 1/125th of a second, aka 0.008 seconds. Why is that the standard shutter speed? Because that's about on average like how quickly we shake, like just from breathing, from living. So like if you want a clear image, hand holding a camera, it needs to be at 1/125 or faster. And then there is a thing called bulb setting. So some cameras have this, some cameras don't. Some lenses have this capability, some lenses don't. But a bulb setting is a shutter that will stay open for as long as you're holding the shutter button. And you're like, well, why would you do that? If you're doing like astrophotography and your camera can't go as slow as you'd like it to, you can try to utilize the bulb. Or if you're just playing with like painting with light in images, bulb setting can be useful there. I personally don't think I have ever used it for pictures, but it's there if you would like to. And don't forget, you can interrupt me with exclamation point question if you have a question, or you can do exclamation point whisper if you don't want to ask the question in chat, if you want to ask it privately. All right. So what is shutter speed? This is like my technical definition. I didn't pull this from anything. This is just my brain. Shutter speed. The speed at which your camera shutter operates, which can control how much light is let into the sensor in the camera and the clarity of the image. And I will define this a little bit more as we move forward. But like I said, shutter speed is the second piece of the trifecta. So last week we talked about that first row, aperture. This week we're talking about the second row. Next Tuesday we'll talk about the third row, ISO. So you can see here, so it says fast shutter speed on one end and slow shutter speed on the other. So the faster your shutter speed is, the more clear your image will be. And you might think like, awesome, that's great. You know, like I will use fast shutter speed all the time. But slow shutter speed has its own uses, like its own specific uses that I think are pretty cool. So don't denote the slow shutter speed just because you want clarity. So what I meant by shutter speed can affect like how much light comes in. So just like with the aperture, like if you look at those circles, the larger the aperture, the smaller the opening. So the smaller the opening, the less light that's coming in. With shutter speed, the faster the shutter speed, the less light that can come in, which kind of makes sense, right? Like if you think of like a window and you open and close the blinds really fast, you're only going to get a little bit of light in the room. But if you like slowly open the blinds and then slowly close the blinds, you get a lot more light. Like a lot, the light stays in the room longer, etc. So just think of it like that. And then next week we'll talk about this ISO with these, what looks like people standing in progressively heavier snow. Let's see. So slow shutter speed. So generally speaking, anything slower than that 1/125th of a second is considered a slow shutter speed. Again, the 1/125th of a second is normally what people need their shutter speed to be at for handheld for a clearer picture. And by what a clear picture, like what I mean by that is like the subject of your image is clear. Because remember, aperture can blur your foreground and background. So like where the focus is in the image would be clear at 1/125th of a second or faster. On average, like with most people. Common time slower shutter speeds are used is photographing waterfalls and photographing transportation. There's a lot of famous pictures of waterfalls out there where like all of the rocks and stuff surrounding the waterfall are like sharp. They have a lot of detail. And then the waterfall itself just kind of looks like a blur as it goes down. That's because the photographer uses slower shutter speed with the camera on a tripod. So for the best manipulation of slower shutter speeds, one should use a tripod or place the camera on a stationary object. I personally don't like carrying tripods. I just, as another item I have to carry around. If I'm shooting a wedding, I'll typically bring a tripod and it'll be kind of like off in the corner with other extra equipment that I bring, just in case I need it. But otherwise, I tend to find like a rock to put my camera on, or I take off my big camera bag. It's like a big backpack, and I'll put that on the ground and then like put my camera on top of that as my stationary object. And again, the reason you need a tripod or stationary object is because if you're going to use a slow shutter speed and you're hand holding it, like nothing in your picture will have clarity. Just because we move. We move. Maybe unless you're like a professional sniper. Now I'm curious about that. I'll have to look that up later. Alright, so here's two examples of pictures taken with slow shutter speeds. So I typically don't work with slow shutter speeds. It's just not something that I do. It's not, that I could never use it. Like, I certainly could. It's not something I'm comfortable with. Let me put it that way. I definitely need more practice with it. So the image on the left was taken at an Amtrak station in the Denver metro area. I literally got a light rail ticket and went to different stations throughout the day and tried to take multiple different pictures of the Amtraks, going from station to station, just to try to get a good example of using slow shutter speed. And that's not to say I did that for this lesson. I did this in 2019. I believe snipers also use tripods on their guns as well as breathing techniques before they shoot, but that could just be video games and movies. That's a good point. They do use the little stand on the rifle of the gun. Barrel. There's a little stand there. But yeah, I think they tend to take a deep breath and let it out. And then at the point that all the breath is out and their body is still, I think that's when they pull the trigger. But anywho. But yeah, so I think for a person that rarely uses slow shutter speed, I think I got a decent Amtrak picture, and decided that I could use it to like give you guys an example of like how photographers that do this type of photography would utilize it. So I had a tripod. I did have a tripod. I carried that around with me. And then this person was waiting to get on the train. So they were standing pretty still, which is good. Otherwise you would see like blurriness with them. But thankfully, like I said, they were standing pretty still. Obviously, like the sidewalk isn't going to move. The like overhead with the camera there in the top right of the picture, like that's not going to move. So the only moving object I really had to worry about was the Amtrak itself. And so I'd set the camera on a tripod and I wrote down the settings that I had for this picture. So my aperture for this was f/36, so that's a pretty small aperture. It's not letting in a lot of light, okay? But this was a bright time of day, so that's okay. Plus, with the longer shutter speed, that meant that I could have a more closed aperture, and that'd be okay because I'd have enough light. The shutter speed for this was 1/5 of a second. So again, 1/25 of a second is what you need for like clear pictures handheld. This was at 1/5 of a second on a tripod. If I had been holding this at 1/5 of a second versus using a tripod, everything in the picture would have some blur to it because I can't stand that still. I wish I could, but I can't. The picture on the right, while not necessarily a waterfall, it's water flowing over rocks on the edge of a lake. This was taken at Sloan Lake in Denver. So Sloan Lake is pretty big, and then it has like the rocky shores, and there's like a couple of beaches, but for the most part, it's like rocks along the shore of the lake, and some of them like go out into the water. So I happened to find like this little spot where I could almost like stand over the rocks as the water flowed over them, and I played with slow shutter speed there. This was on a completely different day than Amtrak Day. But so you can see here that the water, like in the top right, where it's not flowing over the rocks, is more clear than the water flowing over the rocks. And then the moss, it's a little hard to tell because there's not a lot of focus in this picture because there's so much water, so it's not like the best example. But the moss on the rock definitely has more clarity in it than the water gushing over it. And the settings for that one were the aperture was at 8, so medium aperture. That means that the focal ground is going to be blurrier in the front and blurrier in the back and have a narrower ground like area of focus. The ISO was at 100. That means a very low ISO. And then this one was taken at 1/10 of a second, so a little bit faster than the Amtrak picture, but still a slow shutter speed. And please, again, if you have any questions, do !question in the chat, and I will be happy to answer them. Because I know I throw a lot of information out during these streams, and to me, it all makes sense, and hopefully it does to you too. But if something comes up that you have a question about, please feel free to ask. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and there are no such things as dumb questions. I have a feeling that one player is going to ask me a dumb question now. Quote unquote dumb question. Alright. I'm going to take another sip of water. I've been like really dry today. I don't know if it's the incoming snow that we're expecting, but like I've had to put aloe on my face like 3 times today, lotion up my leg tattoo a couple times, and my throat's just been really dry. Alright. So fast shutter speeds, generally speaking, a shutter speed of, I have no doubts. Generally speaking, a shutter speed of 1/125th of a second or faster is considered a fast shutter speed. Common times of fast shutter speed is used is when you're photographing wildlife, because they move, and sometimes they move really fast. And then athletic events, because, again, people are moving pretty fast in athletic events. So for the best manipulation of faster shutter speeds, one may want to utilize aperture to narrow the field of focus. So what I mean by that is, like, if you use a wide range of focus, so that the foreground, medium, and the background are all in focus, and you're using a fast shutter speed, there's going to be, like, too much for the viewer to look at, right? Because, like, everything is clear. Like where should their eye go to? I mean, granted, you can use, like, framing, you can use color, you can use other things to, like, draw the viewer's eye, but a lot of times using your aperture to narrow the field of focus helps when you're using fast shutter speeds. It just helps bring focus in. So a few examples I have of this, and yes, I purposefully, in common times that shutter speeds are used for faster and slower, I purposely used examples that I have to show you. Because one of my biggest pet peeves is when somebody gives you an example or, like, states something, and then they're like, here's an example, and it has nothing to do with what they talked about. So I did find one of wildlife and one of an athletic event. So, for the elk, my aperture was 8. The ISO was 100, so low ISO, so there's not going to be a lot of grain. But my shutter speed was 1/150th of a second. So not much faster than just handheld, because he's grazing on the bush. If the elk had been, like, running through a field, I would have had to increase my shutter speed. But since he was just kind of hanging out and having a snack, 1/150th of a second was perfectly fast. But you can see here that I had a narrower field of focus because, like, there's, like, blurriness in front of his antlers on the left-hand side of the image. That's not from a lack of shutter speed, that's from aperture. And then the background behind the elk is also blurry. So basically just, like, where the elk is and the things around his head are in focus. And then the right side image is of the Rockies. My husband and I like to go to Rockies games. So this was one of the games that we went to a few years ago. I think this one was taken in 2019 as well. So this one, so my aperture was 1.4. My ISO was actually at 3200. So this had a lot of grain before I edited it. It's a weird word. But I smoothed out the grain in post-processing, aka Photoshop. But the shutter speed on this, I don't even know how to, like, it was 1/1250th of a second. So 1/1250. So very fast shutter speed, which is why the catcher is in focus. That's Cargo up at bat. That's why he's pretty much in focus. Literally the only thing not in focus is the baseball, which just tells you that he hit that baseball at more than 1/1250th of a second. But I was pretty proud to get this shot regardless, because you can see that the baseball is being hit. It's, like, right on the bat. But yeah, so those are my examples of fast shutter speed. By the way, I love this picture of the elk, and it's on my website, which you can view at exclamation point store. And what is that in miles per hour? I don't know. I'm going to Google it really quick. 1/1250th of a second in miles per hour. Wow. It is 852.27 miles per hour. Is that right? No, sorry, that's not right. That was 1,250 feet per second to miles per hour. That's not what I wanted. I was like, wow. I don't think he hit the ball that fast. And I know, I was like, that doesn't seem right. How fast is 1/250th of a second in miles per hour? I honestly don't know if there's like a real way to convert this. Because it's not like the shutter speed isn't covering like a distance. So I don't know if there's a way to convert that. I think because like I'm not like getting an answer from Google. I'm just getting the feet per second to miles per hour, which is not what we want. So I don't know. It's a good question. I can certainly try to like figure that out, and get back to you on that. But yeah, I'm just not finding an answer. That's a good question. I'm curious. But yeah. At that point, I think we were talking about light speed from the ball to the camera. But you know, I don't math, so like I don't know how to like convert light speed to the I don't know. I will have to ask the husband. See if he knows. Because I don't math. I try really hard to math sometimes, but that just doesn't compute in my brain. And that's okay. But yeah. By the way, if you ever want to see elk and you're in Colorado, I mean, like, you can pretty much go to any mountain town, but I've always had luck with Estes Park. I've always had luck with Estes Park. Like, this picture of this elk was taken at Estes Park. It's a good place to find elk. Yes, math. The band to most all artists. I mean, yeah. Pretty much. But to go back over the three main takeaways from shutter speed, so just looking at these images again, these are examples of slow shutter speed. And then this is an example, or two examples of fast shutter speed. So again, the three main takeaways are the higher the shutter speed number equals more blurriness. The standard shutter speed for handheld cameras to like have clarity in your image is 1/125th of a second. And then the bulb setting is where if you hold the shutter button, which is like the button that you press to take pictures, you can hold that and it will stay open as long as you're holding that shutter button, and as soon as you release, the shutter closes. It has its uses, but I think it takes a lot of planning and skill to use the bulb setting, because you have to be able to time it out right, depending on what you're trying to do. Alright. I know you can hear me approaching, so here I am. And now you can see me. Whoa. But yeah, I need to figure out how to mute my in-computer microphone. So I was cracking myself up, so like I disappeared from like the camera. And then like I'm like doing that like cartoon like tiptoe thing out of my office room, and I'm like, I should probably just like walk normal and they can hear me walking away, and it's not a big deal. But yeah, I was definitely like and then I was just kind of like out there sitting with my dogs for a minute. before I came back. But I am back. But yeah, so I hope you guys learned something about shutter speed today. If that was not new information for you, that's totally okay as well. Like, I am going over like the very basic. I'm brightening my screen here, so if you notice me getting brighter, that's why. I'm going over like the very basic of basics for photography for these first few lessons, and then as these continue on, we'll delve deeper into certain things with photography. But I'm just trying to cover, like I said, beginner's basics essentially for these first few streams. So it's totally okay if you already know about aperture and shutter speed. But if you didn't, I hope that it makes sense. But yeah, so for the next part of the stream, we are going to be going through how I make my sound wave art. Which again, I typically make sound waves of animals. So here, I will show you. So I have this sound wave collection on my website. And now I feel like my screen's really bright because my website is like white. I'm going to turn that back down. So I make these sound wave art. So like this one, for example, is a photograph of an elk, and the sound wave that the elk is in is of a bull elk call. So I try to make it as accurate to the animal as possible in the picture. So I tend to do research on, like, for example, if it's a picture of a penguin, I'm not like a penguin pro. By the way, penguin pro should be like trademarked. But so like I'll like look up different kinds of penguins, or like, you know, like obviously the picture I took of a penguin is probably at a zoo, so I'll go to that zoo website and see if they list like the animals that they have at the zoo. And I'll try to find like that specific penguin. And then when I look for like its sound wave, I'll look for like that specific type of penguin's call. And if I can't find it, I don't make it, because I don't want to be making both sound wave art. Yeah, so like this one is of an elk bull call, and then I just put the image of the elk inside of the sound wave. So this is my sound wave art. But we're going to walk through how to make one. So just a heads up, if you're like, what the heck, why isn't she actually like showing us how? First we're going to kind of like talk through it, and then I actually have a file open in Photoshop that we're going to kind of work with. I've already done some of the steps that we're going to talk through, just because it take a really long time, and then I get like flustered and embarrassed if I like take too long and stuff. So if you would like me to do the whole thing for a different sound wave image on another stream, I will. Like if you want to see the full process. But I don't know. I just get impatient with myself, and I'm like, no one wants to watch me do all of this. But if you do, then I will show you. That's perfectly fine. So, creating an image. Sound wave. And by the way, if you don't know what this "we are on a break" Ross maybe thing is, that's from Friends. I don't think he ever actually says "we are on a break." He normally says "we were on a break," but since I was on a break, I had to make it present tense. But that's a reference to the show Friends, which probably shows my age, but that's okay. All right, creating an image sound wave. All right, so this is a very narrowed down list of steps in what I do to create sound wave art. So basically you have to choose what the sound is that you want to create visual art of. So mine is animal sounds. yours could be like, I want a sound wave of me saying I love you to gift to someone for Valentine's Day. That could be an example. Then you can convert the sound to a sound wave, step 2. Step 3, if you're using an image, so like for example, I know we were on a break. Yeah. But so if you're using an image, you place the image into the shape of that sound wave. So like if you're just doing the sound wave of, to use my previous example, if you were doing a sound wave of you saying I love you for like a gift for Valentine's Day. I know it's a little late because it is Valentine's Day. Maybe that's an idea for you for next year. I don't know. But if you were doing that, you probably may not use an image. You might just have like the sound wave itself printed on canvas or something. But if you wanted to, you could take a picture of you guys and put it within the sound wave if it works. Because some sound waves just don't work for images because there's not enough to work with. And then crop as needed. Which I will show you a little bit of what I mean by that here in a minute. But again, this is like big picture overview because I definitely have more than 4 steps that I use, so I have it broken down by slide in way more detail right after this slide. So let's just click on the next button. Alright, so step 1, choose an animal. We're doing a giraffe today. So I have never heard a giraffe make noise besides like eating at a zoo. Turns out they make some really like ominous noises. Like I'm pretty sure they use giraffe sounds in horror films and like horror video games. Cause like seriously, I was surprised at the sound a giraffe makes. But since we're creating visual art and you don't actually hear it, you just see the sound wave of the noise, that doesn't come across in imagery. But yeah, so step 1, choose an animal. That's my first step because I do animal sound waves. I decided to do a giraffe. And you're right, I would have never guessed that. Me either. I honestly like... So I know rabbits can make noises, and it's typically when they're getting attacked and they scream. But they can make like little grunting noises. Like my bunnies, if they're really happy with like the food that they're eating, they tend to be like herp, 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 as they eat. I think it's really cute. So like I guess I kind of thought giraffes would fall in that boat. But I was wrong. And I'll play you the sound. I hope it comes through okay, because like the sound I will be playing is through this presentation on the browser. It's not through Streamlabs. So we're gonna find out if it works. But yeah, so step 1, choose an animal. Step 2, use your own recording or find a sound online. So again, since I have never heard a giraffe make a sound, I had to find a sound online. So for this one, I found a clip of a giraffe making noise. And this, I don't know how to say it, soundspanos.com. We're going with that. Okay, I'm going to try to play it now. And we're going to see if it works. Hold on. You'll have to let me know if you can hear it. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep playing it and torturing you. Unless you can't hear it, then... like a deer with kiss. I mean, you're not wrong, but like, I hate it so much. Okay, I'm gonna stop it now. But that's apparently the sound a giraffe makes. I kind of hope I never hear that at the zoo. But yeah, like I said, I can totally. I mean, it sounds like really silly without context, but like imagine like a horror scene where you're like waiting for a jump scare and you just hear like this, like in the background. Like I'd be like, what is that? Sounds like a cow moo with a kazoo. Very accurate descriptions. I'm glad you could hear it. Hopefully it came through clearly. If not, I'll have to figure out another way to do this. Like maybe I just have to add it into Streamlabs for next time and play it through that. But hopefully it came through okay. But yeah, so you probably didn't ask for it ever in your life, but in case you have asked, what does a giraffe sound like? Now you know. Alright, so step 3 then is crop the sound if necessary. So to crop this sound, I used audiotrimmer.com. So like I didn't want the sound wave to be the repeated, like I didn't need multiples of that. So I cropped it to just one of those. I'm pretty sure that's like a sound on a loop anyway. Why, what was the source of this? Why Sounds Panos decided to make like a over 1 minute long loop of a giraffe sound. I don't know. So I just trimmed it to one of those calls. I guess we can call it a call. Because that's all I need. You only need one piece of it to make the sound wave. So I trimmed it up. And then I converted the sound to a visual sound wave. I used wavevisual.com. So wavevisual.com, you typically would upload a sound that you want to like purchase the sound wave of. In this instance, I don't want to purchase like just the sound wave of it, so I honestly just take a screenshot of it. Don't ban me, wavevisual.com. So just in case I put at the bottom that this sound wave design is owned by wavevisual.com because they're the ones that made this design of this sound wave. So this is a visual representation of the cow moo with the kazoo. This is what that looks like. All right. So then step 5. So I don't have like an image for this, but that's okay because like I said, I'm going to do this some of it in Photoshop here after we talk through it. So I open the sound wave in my art file in the photo editing software. So I open the sound wave image in Photoshop and I put it on the art file I want to use. So since all of my sound wave art, this is 20 by 60 inches, I use a template that I have to create these canvases in Photoshop. So then I stretch the sound wave to fit my art file, so to fit that 20 by 60 template in my case, I stretch the sound wave to fit that 20 by 60, keeping the same image proportions. So that doesn't mean I stretch it out, because if you stretch it out vertically or horizontally, then that's technically a different sound wave, because sound waves are, like pitches, different pitches have different heights in sound waves. So if you distort it at all, then your sound wave is no longer accurate. So you have to keep the same image proportions to uphold accuracy with that. And I'm going to get some chapstick really quick, so you can just watch me put on chapstick. And the reason I'm dabbing it on is because this is one that I had in my old car. And it, like, melted a little. I don't know if you can see that. I think it might be. Like, it's a bit janky. And, like, most of it is on the cap. So I'll just dab it on, because it's still wet, because I just can't smear it on. Otherwise, pieces of it will come off, and I'll have, like, these white globs on my face. And that'll be a disgrace. Alright then, moving on. Alright, so step 7. So this is a screenshot of Photoshop when I was working on this before. This is after I've after I've resized the sound wave to fit the best in my 20x60 template that I have to create these sound wave images. So you can see it doesn't go all the way to the edges. That's okay. We're going to take care of that here in a bit. All I'm really looking for is that it fills up the space as much as it can without too much of it going off of the edge. So where those blue lines are in the screenshot, that's where the canvas will be folded. So you won't see that on the front facing portion. So like a very little bit of it goes off the edge, but for the most part, otherwise it all stays on. And the reason I didn't make it any bigger than it is because otherwise the one piece that's going a little bit over would pretty much be all the way over the edge, and then you wouldn't be able to see it, which in my opinion kind of like distorts the sound wave because you're missing a piece of it then. So you use your quick selection tool or a similar tool like in whatever program you use to outline the sound wave. So if you look really closely, I don't know how well, globs on your face, big disgrace, kicking your can all over the place. That's as low as I can go. But yes, that's what I was trying to reference. So thanks, Sunfire. Because I don't know how well you can see it, but like there's a dotted line around the sound wave. That's just from using the quick selection tool, and like you have to like click several times to cover the whole thing. But eventually you get it, and this is the result of that. Alright, so while you have that dotted line in, and you can probably see it a little better on this screen than you could on this one with all the lines. So once you have your shape outlined with that quick selection tool, you can take your paintbrush tool, and I just filled it in with my brand color because I think it shows like the shape really well before I put the image in. So I filled it in with my brand color. So you just take the paintbrush tool and you color it in. And since there's this selection on there, it won't color anything outside of the dotted lines. It will only color the items inside of the dotted lines. So you just make it one solid color. This helps you select it faster moving forward, because when it's the lines, like it only wants to grab like a little bit of that with your quick selection tool, which is why you have to keep like grabbing different parts and making the shape. But once you're done with that and you have the shape and you paint it in with one solid color, then when you go to select it, it should cover the whole thing. Like it should outline the whole thing because it's just one solid color, and it's really easy for the program to be like, this is what they want. Like this is what you want me to do. So step 9. So still using that quick selection tool or whatever tool is similar in your editing program. I, like in Photoshop, you right click on it and select layer via cut. This makes it so like if you missed any pieces of the sound wave, which if you look really closely, you'll see that I missed a tiny little piece. This will delete any of those flaws. Okay, so like if you delete the layer you cut away from, that will delete out any of those little flaws that you may have left behind. And again, if you need to stop me because you have a question, feel free to just ask in chat or do exclamation point question to get my attention. And I'll answer your question as best as I can, to the best of my ability. Alright, step 9 is done. Let's go to step 10. Alright, so now you'll see we went from it not stretching to the edges of the canvas to now we have a line going all the way through. So step 10 is you use what's called in Photoshop a rectangular marquee tool to add a straight line through the sound wave in the same color so that it all stays as one shape. Okay, so you want to do this on the layer with your colored sound wave. You will use the paintbrush tool to fill in the rectangular marquee tool and then merge the rectangular layer with the sound wave layer when you're done. And all this is you're creating that straight line that the sound wave is coming off from. So if you've ever had a hearing test or anything like that, there's typically a point of reference line. And then low sounds go below that line and high sounds go above that line. In this case, this is frequency, this is not decibels. So the bigger the shape, the more frequency there is, and the smaller the shapes, like where it dips down, the less frequency there is. But it still comes down. So like if there's less frequency, it's closer to the middle. If there's more frequency, it expands from a middle point. So we're just giving that middle point more visualization by creating a line that goes from end to end. And I made sure, again, if you remember, the blue lines are where the canvas wraps. I do want the line to go around the wrap so that it feels more complete and it's not just cut off. This also prevents, let's say if like the company doesn't fold the canvas completely correctly, it prevents any kind of like little hangover on an end or both ends, or like a gap showing on the front of the canvas on one end. Like for example, if they folded it too far to the right, you'd have a gap on the left. So this just prevents that. So just put it all the way around the wrap. Alright, and again I'm going to do this, some of this in Photoshop. Alright, so step 11 is to add the animal photo to the Soundwave file in Photoshop as a new layer. Okay, you don't want to put on the same layer. You always want to do new steps on new layers. Alright, and then step 12 is, so I moved the image of the animal, that layer, I moved that layer behind the layer that contains the sound wave, so the image is behind it. This helps me position it to where I want it to be within the sound wave. It's okay if it doesn't fill up the entire sound wave. You can always like go back and edit in backgrounds. You can also decrease the opacity of the sound wave layer to help you with your placement. Like if you can't work with like the solid color, if you're like, I can't see what I'm doing, you can just decrease the opacity of that sound wave layer to help you with your placement. And if you noticed, I'm going to go back a few slides. The giraffe was originally facing left. With the shape of this sound wave, I could fit the giraffe in better facing right. So I just flipped the image. So that's why his neck is coming from the other way. Or her. I don't know. Alright. So in step 13. So this is where turning your sound wave into this blob of solid color comes into handy. Because you use the magic wand tool and you click on the colored sound wave. So make sure you're on the sound wave layer, because if you click and you get like a little blob of something and it doesn't click the whole sound wave, the whole image of the sound wave, that means you're probably on the wrong layer. So if you're on the correct layer, the sound wave layer, it should select everything that you colored in. As long as it's one solid color, it should select the whole thing. Easy peasy. Alright, so then after you do that selection with the magic wand tool or similar tool in your photo editing software, you would go and click on the image layer, and you'll see the outline is still there. Like if you look closely at this image, you can see the outline is still there. And then you can use the clone tool to fill in the rest of the outlined sound waves. So I did move the image between where I was here and where I was here. You'll notice, like especially if you look at the left edge of the photo, that's where you'll really notice that I moved it. And I did that so it would fill in more of the actual sound wave itself. So then I would only have to Photoshop or clone where the line is that stretches out to the edges. And normally you can use a clone tool for this because that area is so narrow. There's not a lot of attention drawn to that area, and you typically can't see much of what's going on in there anyway. So you, like in this instance, I just grabbed like a clone of the leaves of the trees behind the giraffe and cloned it through the line going to the edges of the print. So I do that before I cut the image at all. I add to it so it fills out the whole sound wave. So you want to fill the sound wave before you cut it out of the sound wave, if that makes sense. Alright. So once you have the whole sound wave filled in by using the clone tool, which you'll see I also had to use it for like these top pieces that stick up over the image. Not a big deal because it's all just blurred tree leaves in the background. So once it's all filled in, then make sure your tool in your toolbox is still a magic wand tool. And you right click on your image file and you layer via cut. Make sure you're on the photo layer this time so that it actually cuts the image itself. And then you want to hide all layers except for the newly cut one so that you can see the image that you've created with your sound, like with your cuts and with your sound wave. So let's do it. Let's make a sound wave. Alright, I'm going to switch over to Photoshop. If it likes me. Yes. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. So switching over to Photoshop. So now we're going to walk through it a little bit. And between my last educational stream and this one, I learned that I needed to move my layers up. So when I'm talking about moving stuff around in layers, you can actually see it and know what I'm talking about. So it's no longer behind my head. I moved the layers so they're above me. So this is my template for my 20 by 60 image that I'm going to make with the giraffe sound wave. Okay. I only have one layer here that's hidden, so I'm going to unhide it now. So this is the completed sound wave. So I already made the sound wave before because, again, not sure if you wanted to sit here and watch me work on this for like a very long time creating the sound wave, so I just made it ahead of time. Alright, since I have the completed sound wave, I am ready to add the image of the giraffe to the sound wave. So I'm going to go to my picture of the giraffe. Ba-bam! I'm going to right click on the layer, and I'm not sure if it shows you the menu when I right click on things or not, but out of that menu is a duplicate layer option. So I'm going to click on duplicate layer, and then I click on, so like then it tells you like destination and it says like document, and you have to click or select what document you want it to go to. So I want it to go to my Soundwave one. Okay, and here it is. Here is the giraffe. Alright, so I'm going to resize the giraffe. I'm pretty much just going to have it fill this. I'm going to throw, let me press enter really quick, otherwise it'll freeze up on me. I'm going to put the layer that has, so it's called background copy in my layers on the right hand side. So I can Can I rename that? I'm never trying to rename a layer. I always just use it how it is. I kind of sounded like Moira there. I'm sure there's a way, but I've never done it. Anyway, background copy has the image of the giraffe on it. I'm going to put it behind the sound wave. Again, like I just mentioned a little bit ago, I had flipped the image of the giraffe. So to do that, again, I don't think it shows you when I'm in like different little windows within Photoshop. I think it just keeps showing you the main Photoshop window. So to flip just one layer of an image, you have to go to File, Edit, go to Edit, then you go to Transform, and then in this instance, I'm flipping it horizontal. So you go Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal, and then it flips the giraffe, so it's looking the other way. Alright, so now I'm going to throw that back behind the sound wave. And I'm just going to move the giraffe where I think it makes the most sense. So I'm going to fill as much of the sound wave as possible. And again, you can change the opacity of the sound wave layer. So on the right hand side, where the layers are, which again are above my head by a little bit, you'll see it says normal and then opacity. So you can just decrease that opacity and you can see where the giraffe will end up being. Okay. This whole face is in the sound wave. One of his horns gets cropped off a little bit, but the other one is in there. I think that's enough for viewers to get the gist of it. So I'm going to put that back at 100%. And now we're actually going to make the sound wave with the picture of the giraffe. So I'm going to take my Magic Wand tool, which is, there's a toolbox on the left-hand side. So one of mine is called the Magic Wand tool. I'm going to take that with the sound wave layer selected. I'm just going to click. It's going to take a little bit. But now it's selected my entire green sound wave shape. Again, because I made it one color. So that's why you paint in the sound wave with one color for this. Makes your life so much easier. So you select the entire sound wave using the Magic Wand tool. And then all you have to do is click on, so I just click on the layer visibility next to the sound wave layer, and I make the sound wave itself go away. And then just make sure that you click on the layer with your picture on it. You want to be sure that you're, that you're working on the picture itself. So, now my dotted line, I'm going to zoom in here. Now my dotted line from using the Magic Wand tool is on the image of my picture. This is what you want. This is where you want to be at this step. So to fill in this empty space in my outline, I'm just going to go to my clone tool, my clone stamp, and I'm just going to take the leaves and fill in these sides. So like here, I'll take what's closest to the edge here, and then I'll kind of take here, and I'll just kind of clone and paint in the line over here. Okay, so now it's not an empty space. Now it has imagery in there. If you leave it as empty, when you lose your dotted line, there just won't be anything there. It'll just be white, which is why you want to fill it in. If you want the sound wave going all the way to the edges, that is. You do you, boo. Alright. So for this side, since the leaves of this tree are also over here right next to the edge, I'm just going to clone right next to this giraffe's face, because basically when you use the clone tool, wherever you click on, so like you have to click, like for me it's option, makes it that little target. If you can see my mouse, I'm not sure if you can. But I select option and click, and that's what the tool will clone, is what you click on there. And then as you like paint to the side, it just keeps grabbing what's to the side of your original point. So like if you were to paint down, it would copy what's down from your original point. If you were to paint up, it would copy what's up from your original point. So I'm just going to take this and drag it all the way to the right. You'll see it ended like in a very like sharp line. And that's because that's where the edge of the picture originally was. So there's nothing for it to clone anymore because it doesn't clone the clone. It only clones the original. Now after I have cloned, I could clone what's there because it's existing. So I'm just going to finish cloning off this edge. And now my whole sound wave is filled in. I don't see any empty spots. There's no pieces sticking off the top or the bottom that aren't filled in, and the sides are filled in. Okay? So going back to my magic wand tool, I'm going to now right-click on this image and select Layer via Cut. And you should see a new layer be created here in a second, once Photoshop is done thinking. Alright, so now I see layer 3. That's my new layer with the cut image. So now if I make background copy invisible, you get the sound wave. And that's how you do it, folks. But we are going to finish this and actually add it to the website. So now we have the image of the giraffe in the sound wave. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save this. I know you can't really see me doing this, but I'm going to save this. I have a whole folder for my sound wave art. So that's what I am saving it in. It's thinking while it saves. Do, 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 do. Alright. Always save it as the largest file possible. Okay. That's the original image. I can close that out. So I have a lifestyle image. I have 3 different lifestyle images that I use for my sound waves. I like to put them in a pattern on the website. So let me show you that really quick so you know what I'm talking about. Alright, we can close that out. So on the sound wave page of my website, I have 3 different lifestyle images, and I just put them in a pattern so that there's not 2 of the same next to each other. Or at least they used to be in a pattern. Maybe they aren't anymore. Maybe they're just random. But yeah, so I just try to make sure that 2 of the same are not next to each other. So for this one, I didn't want to do the picture of the giraffe in my lifestyle image with the yellow chair because then it would be right next to the other one. So I chose the sideboard one, which is what we are working with in Photoshop. Alright, so just like with the canvases, we need to trim off like where the canvas folds over and put it into the lifestyle image. But while I am doing that, I figured I would tell you about where I took this picture from. So by the way, I saved the image of this with the edges on because whatever photo uploader that I use to order the 20 by 60 canvas, it's going to auto wrap it for me based on the image, so I want to make sure to keep the wrap in the actual JPEG of the full image. Before the lifestyle, I just want the front. But anyway, alright, so first off, one of my favorite zoos, my favorite zoo to visit is Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, because you can feed the giraffes there, and I think it's the best. There's a lot of reasons I love Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. However, this giraffe is not one of Cheyenne Mountain Zoo's giraffes. I just wanted to pitch them in here because I love them so much. But this giraffe is actually at Brookfield Zoo. Is it Brookfield? I feel like I'm saying it wrong now that I'm saying it out loud. Yeah, Brookfield Zoo. I'm not crazy. Okay, maybe I am crazy, but not because I misremembered the name of a zoo. So, Brookfield Zoo is located in Brookfield, Illinois. It's a huge zoo. Okay, like I have been to a lot of zoos, a lot of aquariums. Brookfield is huge, okay? And I don't really understand why it's as big as it is. Here I am getting all like feisty about it. But like, so you walk into the zoo, and a lot of the enclosures are like on the edge of the zoo. So like if you look at the zoo map, it's like a lot of emptiness in the middle, and all of the like animals are on the border of the zoo. Which like I get they probably have events and stuff going on in the middle on most days, but the day that I was there with my husband, there really wasn't much going on, probably because we were there like in September, so it was like off season for tourism. But it was just kind of weird because you had to walk really far between exhibits to see animals. Which I mean, like, good for my health, I guess. But I don't know. I would rather see more animals than have, like, a large empty space in the middle, which maybe it's, like, a planning thing. Like, maybe they're leaving that space there so, like, eventually they can expand, like, what animals they have. Because it's not... I don't want a zoo to get more animals if it means that the animals have less space. I want the animals to have a lot of space. I actually rate every single zoo that I go to. I write a blog about each zoo or aquarium that I go to, and I basically mention if I like them or not based on how much room the animals have and if the animals seem like they're stressed out or in distress. Because if you're at an AZA accredited zoo, the animals should be very healthy and they should not be stressed out. The reason they're at that zoo is for like breeding research, because they've been born into captivity because they were injured and couldn't survive in the wild. It should not, like, the animals should be healthy. So if you're ever curious, I have blog posts about every zoo that I have been to, including Brookfield. So these giraffes, so you walk into Brookfield Zoo, and we immediately went off to the right, and it wasn't too far from entering the zoo that we saw the giraffes. They were so we walked off to the right, there was a path, and they were on the left-hand side of the path. They had a huge area, okay, which is wonderful for the giraffes. This one just happened to be, like, kind of like doing this thing, like with its head, like, not far from the path, obviously behind the fence. But it was just kind of doing this. Like, it would look this way, and then it would look this way. And I know I don't look like I'm taking up too much room doing this, but, like, imagine a giraffe with a freaking long neck doing that. You know, like, it takes them a while to go from one side to the other side. So that's what I was doing. If you're wondering what I'm doing in Photoshop, I'm just adding an outer glow. But, like, I love photographing giraffes. I think they have one of the most photogenic faces when it comes to animals. I don't know. I have photographed the giraffes at Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. I have photographed the giraffes at Denver Zoo, and then this one at Brookfield. And they just always have the best facial expressions. But this one, I just felt like, oh, I have a raid. Thank you, Low Base Guy. Hi, welcome on in. Oh, and thank you for the follow, Mango Loco. Love it. Thank you. Welcome on in. Let me go back to my screen, my chatting screen, so you can see me better. Oh, thank you for following Dead Flies Music. I appreciate it. I hope I said your names correctly, by the way. Hello, what am I working on? I am actually in the middle of creating, and thank you for the follow, Low Base Guy. I appreciate it. I am working on, so I do some sound wave art with my photography. So like I'll take like an image of an animal, like a photograph I have taken of an animal, and then I take the sound that that animal makes. So in this instance, we're doing a giraffe. So I take the sound a giraffe makes, and I put the picture of the animal into its sound wave, like of its call. So here, let me show you examples, because I always like feel weird trying to like articulate it. So I have never heard a giraffe make a sound either. So I actually had to Google like what sounds giraffes make. And I was very here. Do you want to hear what a giraffe sounds like? It's kind of ominous. Well, it's like silly ominous. Yeah, so this is a photo of a giraffe in the sound wave of a sound that a giraffe makes. Most important question, though. What's the most important question? What does the fox say? Why did I know you were going to go there? I haven't done one of a fox yet, which I am realizing is like a failure on my part. So I will have to do a fox next time. See yourself up. No, please stay. I love jokes. I'm a very punny person myself. So if you hear me say a really bad pun, I hope you appreciate it, or just roll your eyes at me. I can't see you. It's fine. But so today we were working on a giraffe, but here, let me show you some other examples of what I have done in the past. So this is my website with the sound wave art there. So like this one is of an elk. So this is a picture of an elk that I took. This picture was taken at Yellowstone, the one of the elk. Within a bull elk call. I feel like I just said elk like 10 times. And that this is honestly like one of my favorites, just because I think it's really funny. Because like if you know, I forget like the actual title of the song, but there's like a you're gonna go lurk, no problem. Thank you for the lurk. All about that and dad jokes think will fit in just right. Absolutely. Like I said, I'm a very punny person. I actually in a stream that I watched and chat in, the streamer made a jar that I have to pay every single time I say a pun. It uses like the stream points. So like every time I say a pun, I have to like redeem that, and it's like 25 stream points. So it's like not a lot, but I think it's really funny. And then in another stream that I watched, they made a pun counter. Because apparently I've just become famous for this now. So every single time I say a pun, or anybody in chat says a pun, they do like exclamation point pun and then put like the name of the person. And I'm obviously leading in number of puns on that chat. But very cool work on my Instagram. Do I do photography full time? I don't. Well, that's jarring. That was a good one. Okay, I'm done. Maybe, probably not. I'm thinking probably not, and that's totally okay with me. In fact, it's more than okay with me. But thank you so much for taking a look at my Instagram. I don't do photography full time. It's kind of like my side gig. I actually work for a wall decor company, so it kind of goes hand in hand a little bit. But I'm an account manager for a wall decor company, so I help companies sell art, which is pretty cool. Um, but for what I was saying about this buzzing bee sound wave, it's one of my favorite ones because if you know, like, there's like a classical song and it's called like the dance of the bumblebee or something like that, and it's just constant like trilling, and I feel like this sound wave reflects that. So it just cracks me up because I think of that song every single time I look at this sound wave. But yeah, so like obviously each sound wave should be different. Another one I think is pretty cool is the wolf one. I don't know anything about bees or photographing them. Do you photograph bees? Because if you do, I want to see them. But I like this wolf one only because as a native species to America, I think it's really cool that the ending of a howl of a wolf sound wave kind of looks like an arrowhead. I just think that's cool. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. And when I make these sound waves, sometimes it doesn't work out. Like sometimes the sound wave is too narrow. Like this one kind of cracks me up. Like, so this is like the sound of a llama, and the llama is way over here. And then it's just like trees for the rest of it with the llama face over here. So sometimes it works out. Your macro photography, waits for to chime in. I have photographed the odd bee or two. You're a macro photographer, bugs and reptiles. That's really cool. Yeah, if you have an Instagram, like if you followed me on Instagram, I'll follow you back. I'd be really interested to see that. I don't do a lot of macro photography. I have a macro lens. I've used it a few times. I've basically done like close-ups of flowers and moss and stuff. You did follow me? Okay, cool. Here, that was my chapstick falling. I'm gonna go look really quick. And if you see me looking over here, I have a laptop over here. So I stream on Imbeccable Images, but my Green Witch 43 profile is my mod, but it's just me. Because that's what I use to watch streamers. Why I decided to make two different ones. Awesome. Okay, I followed you back. I can't wait to look into this. I'm just glancing really quick. Actual photo of me on Valentine's Day. I like it. I can appreciate it. Oh yeah, and there's a carpenter bee. Okay. That's really cool. No, I can't wait to dive into that more. Thank you for the follow, not only just on Twitch, but also on Instagram. I remember when I only had one macro lens. How long have I had all these personalities? So I started watching streams last year with my Green Witch 43, which here I'll just put hi. So that's the one that I watch streams with typically. But this is like my third stream. Okay. And so like I decided to start streaming because I wanted to share like photography facts, like teach people about photography, and e-commerce and things like that. And so I just decided to start streaming. Like literally, I think 2 weeks ago I had my first stream on a Friday. And then last week I had one stream. I was hoping to do 3, but I hurt my back and I couldn't like sit in my chair very well. So I'm hoping this week I do my 3 streams. So Tuesdays in the evenings. Oh, welcome to streaming. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very newbie. Like I had a break earlier and I realized I have no idea. I just use my built-in microphone, which maybe you can tell. I don't know. But I just use my built-in microphone. I don't have like a separate one that you can like mute. I don't know how to mute my microphone built-in Streamlabs. I have no idea. I Googled it before I started stream and it was like, when you go live, there'll be this mixer and you can just mute your microphone. It's super easy. Well, no mixer came up. I don't know how to find it, so I don't know how to mute myself. That's awesome. I'm part of a creative Twitch team whose purpose is exactly that: education and the supporting of creatives by other creatives. That's really awesome. And here I am failing at streaming. So just 1 second, and I will. Let me see here. I know how to do this because I am a mod on other channels. So I know how to shout people out. So here we go. Shout out to Low Bass Guy. Your mic sounds great to me. Yeah, it's next to the source. Yeah. You seem to be doing fine so far. Thank you. I feel like sometimes I'm like, I don't know what I'm pushing or what button I need to press or whatever. I'll figure out how to mute my mic eventually. Ooh, I'm famous now. The goal, right? The goal. So yeah, if there's anybody in chat who's not following Low Bass Guy, you can click the little heart button that's in chat. Or if you're on mobile, I think it's like at the top of the chat. And you just click on that little heart and it will follow Low Bass Guy. And voila. So I know how to do some stuff. Alright. So I'm going to go back to my Photoshop screen. So bloop. Alright. So I just added to like kind of let you know where I'm at in the process. So we created the sound wave on stream. I do upload all videos to YouTube. I edit them in iMovie because I'm an Apple person. Please don't hate. So I edit them in iMovie and then I upload them to YouTube. So it won't be up like tonight by any means. But if you want to go back and review the lesson, so I've just been doing very beginner's basics lessons so far. So last week I talked about aperture. This week I talked about shutter speed. Next week I'm going to talk about ISO, so like the trifecta. Wait, Apple unfollows. No, please. Don't do that. But just enjoy the journey. You don't have to do everything right straight away. Just focus on being as consistent as you can and get a little better each time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. That's very wise. Refollows just to unfollow again. Damn. No, my husband is not Apple. Look at me, I'm like turning red. My husband is not an Apple person. He is very much Droid. He has an iPad though, because he always used to steal my iPad to play games, so I bought him his own iPad. But he's like, every single time I hand him like my iPhone, he's like, I don't know how to operate this, which like I have no problem with droids. I really don't. You can blame Winona State University for me using Apple. Okay, if you need somebody to blame, you can blame the university I went to, because they basically gave me two options. It's a laptop university, so they give you a laptop to like, do homework on and et cetera, et cetera. And the two options were an HP notebook or what was it, a MacBook Pro, I think it was back then, because I'm old. I chose the HP notebook. Okay, I originally had chosen the HP notebook. It crashed on me twice, and I lost everything both times. Like our IT department wasn't able to recover anything. So after the second time, I'm like, screw it. I am gonna try MacBook Pro. So I've been Apple ever since then. But I use a PC for my actual job and stuff, so I'm familiar with both systems, but I just personally have Apple. So I hope you don't hate me. But how dare you? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Not really, but I am. But yeah, so where I was at with the Soundwave art, so I had already made the Soundwave before you guys jumped in. Get the MacBook Pro, sell it, buy 3 PCs. Probably could do that. I don't have that MacBook Pro anymore. My ex got it. I have a MacBook Air now. But again, I could, I could probably buy multiple PCs. The desktop that I'm on is a big Mac desktop. That's worth a pretty penny that my parents spoiled me and got for me because I'm hashtag privileged. But yeah, I know Apple costs a lot, and I know. Sorry. But yeah, so we had made the sound wave before you jumped in with the raid, which again, thank you so much for doing. I'm really glad that you're here because I've been hoping to try to find, I know like a lot of gaming streamers, but I've been hoping to find more of like the art community. And by the way, if you hear whining in the background, that would be one of my dogs. Wrong finger, this one. You get free dog appearances. I think it's just her on the sofa. Yeah. So that's Aspen. I can't point. That's Aspen behind me. She's a crybaby. Goodbye, crybaby. Oh, there's plenty more where I came from. Would you like our team info? Yes, I would. Doggo. Yeah, I have 3 dogs, and they like to come in here. They're just, 2 of them happen to be sleeping out there. Is it? I think so. I don't think I ever turned off links, so I guess we're about to find out if it does work. Like, go ahead and try. I never did anything to turn off links. I don't know if you need to do something to turn them on. I don't know. I'm questioning everything now. But yeah, go ahead and try. And let me know if it works. But yeah, so after I make the sound wave, I have to put it on a lifestyle image for my website. So I just put a little outer glow on it to, make it not look flat against the wall. And then I just save my lifestyle image. I know you can't see it as I save stuff, which I almost wish you could because I have a very extensive filing system on my hard drive. But I'm just going to name it Giraffe Sound Wave Lifestyle as a JPEG so I can upload it onto my website. Okay, that looks like it worked to me. I'm seeing the links. Do you want to hear what a giraffe sounds like? I have the sound. I can play it for you. I had a presentation I had open earlier to go through shutter speed and to we talked through the steps of making sound wave art before I did it in Photoshop, and that's where the sound wave is. You said you did see the links? Yeah, I see the links. Yep, they're there. So here, really quick, I'm just going to open them in new tabs so that I don't lose those. Oh, good, I didn't miss the giraffe sound bites, putting late dinner together and then internet died on me again. Oh no, stupid Xfinity. Oh no, I'm sorry. I've heard that's been, I have a couple friends in Chicago and their internet dies all the time and they have Xfinity. I have Xfinity too, but I don't seem to have that issue. I'm in Colorado. Aspen is staring at me. Okay. Let me reopen this and then I can play the sound bite. So just 1 second. As I open that up, I'd closed it out. So just give me a moment. Okay. I hope you're prepared. Now I want you to know that I don't have the sound like in Streamlabs, so I'm just playing it through my computer. I know chat was able to hear it earlier, so hopefully it comes through clearly. So let me... Okay. I don't know what that was, but it's the only thing I've ever wanted to hear in my life. Yeah, this is what a giraffe sounds like. And now you know. Oh no, your internet died during stream today? I'm sorry. My second stream last week, I know this will probably just feed into your Apple hatred, but I never update my computer. If you're an IT guy, I'm really sorry. I am the bad noodle who never updates their computer. And if you ignore a Mac for too long, it just will do the update by itself. So I was streaming last week, and my computer was just like, now's the time! We're gonna update right now! So my computer just shut down, restarted, and I'm just like, I was in the middle of something here! So that happened. But, I see giraffes at the zoo all the time and would never match that sound to them. I know! I don't think if I heard that sound at a zoo, I'd be like, now I would, obviously, but, I would never be like, that's a giraffe. I feel like if I was standing there staring straight at a giraffe and it was making that sound, I'd be like, there's no way that that's coming from that animal. It has to be coming from something else. The giraffe is clearly just yawning, and the sound is coming from somewhere else. But yeah, when I discovered that's what giraffes sounded like, I was like, what the heck? But it sounds very cross with me. The giraffe, it sounds like annoyed, right? Don't tell LBG that your Maggie's gonna have some choice words for you. She a Mac user, so I'm just gonna leave you two to congratulate each other. Yeah, we've been through it a little bit. But yeah. I explained how I became a Mac user. You can blame Winona State University and HP notebooks. But yeah, I don't personally have, an agenda against, PC stuff. I also am, not techie at all, so, being able to, code and stuff with, a PC that you supposedly can or cannot do with Mac is not something that I feel like I'm missing out on. Sequoia, come here. You want to say hi? Come here. Come on. Hi, baby. Are you sliding on the floor? I'm sorry. Yeah. Everybody wants to see a doggo. Everybody wants to see a doggo. Yeah. This is my golden retriever named Sequoia. All of my dogs are named after trees. Because I am a dork. Yeah, Sequoia. Yeah. Alright, get down. Get down. Thank you. The giraffe is mad at me because I use Mac. That's totally fair. Doggo! Adorable. I personally think they're the cutest, but, I'm a little biased. But yeah, Aspen is with her toy on the futon behind me. Sometimes they're all three on the futon. My third one, Willow, is out in the front living room. She's an independent woman, so she's just gonna hang out back there. Goodbye, you two. Oh, they're gonna play. there's like, I love my dogs so much. If you are a nerd like me, so I give all of my animals middle names. So Sequoia is named after 2 national parks. So Sequoia National Parks. Free Doggo Stream. Yeah. Free Doggo Stream. But so Sequoia is Sequoia Rainier, so she's named after Sequoia National Park and Rainier National Park. And then Aspen is Aspen Galadriel, because I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. And Willow is Willow Eowyn. So the other 2 have Lord of the Rings middle names. And then I also have 2 bunnies. So my bunnies have always been named after Legend of Zelda characters. So the 2 that I have right now, that's your actual cat? Like, is that your emote? Yeah, it is. Okay. That's really cool. You know what? I totally... That's really cool. So with emotes, by the way, I have this little... Other way. I have this little bar here to try to get to 50 followers because I want to do emotes. I'm like, I could have one of a little camera. I could have one of a coffee cup because I'm one of those basic bitches who, like, coffee is part of my personality. And I could have one of each of my dogs and maybe my bunnies too. But yeah, so both of my bunnies are named after Legend of Zelda characters. So one is Tetra. She's the 4th bunny I've ever had. Unfollows and refollows 50 times. I don't think it works that way. I wish it did. And then the other one is named Midna from Twilight Princess. But if you're not a nerd, that's okay too. I'm just really nerdy. But what are they doing now? What is she doing? Are you? Okay, you're not breaking rule number 1. Willow could refer to the movie show some more. Yeah. I do really. I haven't seen the TV show yet. I've seen the movie. Does the TV show still have Warwick Davis? Is it still the same gentleman playing Willow? I don't know because I haven't really looked into the show. But I like the movie a lot. Yes, an aged Warwick Davis. So, like, is Willow older in the movie? Like, is this after, or in the show, like, is this after the events of the movie itself? And I should probably change my category to just chatting now, huh? If I can figure out how to do that. Technically aged by life. What are you doing? You just look like a blur behind me when you're, like, jumping back and forth like that. But no, I've seen the movie, like, I've only seen it once, so I grew up under a rock, like, essentially. So I had never seen a lot of movies growing up. And then, thankfully, I met my husband, and he's like, you've never seen this? And you've never seen this? Well, we need to fix that. So I have now seen Lord of the Rings. Not Lord of the Rings. I saw that when I was a kid. I've now seen Star Wars. I had never seen Star Wars when I was younger. And, like, I seriously just, like, never saw a lot of movies. Like, if you named a movie, I would probably be like, yeah, I didn't see that till I was an adult. So I was just changing the category there. But yeah, I don't know. My mom just was like, you get to watch Disney movies and movies that I have seen that I approve. So, like, I fixed the problem, so I'm forgiven. Thank you. I don't know if I've watched, like, every movie that I should have, you know, kind of thing. Like, I've never seen any of the Star Treks. I would like to. I just haven't seen them yet. I have also never seen any James Bond movies. Not because I don't want to. I just haven't had the opportunity. I'll be right back. Gonna grab food. No problem. If you want to sound like a real nerd, don't pronounce the second W in his name. That's technically... Voila. 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 It's like that, is it a Family Guy when Stewie's like whipped cream or something? Or like... Oh, you mean... you mean more. So it's just Arik? Arik? Eric? Eric sounds more right. Or Warwick. Instead of Warwick, it's Warwick. That sounds more legit, honestly. Warwick. That makes sense. Never put a thought into it because, like, you know, like unless you hear somebody say the name, you just pronounce it how you think it's pronounced. Warwick Davis. Why put the second W in there then? Why did they do that to me? Or rather, why does Warwick's mom or parents do that to me? Whoever named Warwick. Because he's British. Oh, is that why? I'll keep that in mind for next time. This is my American attempt at a British accent. I do it quite often, so if you hate hearing accents, I apologise, because I break into it sometimes, and that's just how it is. I also sometimes do a very northern accent, because I'm originally from the Midwest. He's not as old as I thought he was. I just googled, and he's only 53. Yeah? How old was he when he made the movie? Although the movie was probably just... Was that a 90s movie? So he'd be like in his 20s or 30s when that was made? Question mark? But yeah, that's not as old as I thought he'd be either. So that's interesting. Yeah. I would have thought he'd be like in his 60s, I guess, or 70s. He was in Return of the Jedi in the 80s. You know, I honestly don't know who he played in Return of the Jedi. I don't know. Oh, actually I do. I do know. It's those teddy bear guys. Hold on. Ewoks. He was Wicket the Ewok. Okay, I remembered. I wasn't looking at chat when I said Ewok the first time. I remembered. Yeah, my husband loves Ewoks. He has like a stuffy of an Ewok, like a stuffed animal Ewok. Star Wars trivia. LBG is the guru. So I go to trivia every week. If you're in Colorado and you'd like to join our trivia group, please do. The one that found Leia after she crashed. Yeah. I think that Ewok is the only one given a name. I think. I'm not 100% sure though. That's not correct. Okay, so what other Ewok has a name? Because I'm sure you know all of the Ewoks that have names. I feel like you would know. I only know of Wicket. And that actually was a trivia question at my trivia night probably like 8 months ago. So I'm sure there'll be like another Star Wars question like that coming up soon, because she does tend to recycle some questions if you've been going to this trivia place long enough. But I'm trying to remember if any of the other names were mentioned in the movie, or is it just like in the credits? that the names are mentioned. Chirpa and Logray. Is it just Logray or Logray? There's none of their names that were ever mentioned in the movie. I feel like you're bamboozling me now. My best friend and I have done trivia only twice, and we came in second both times, like by 1 or 2 points. I mean, I know you say that's frustrating, but that's really amazing. Like, how many teams were at this trivia? Like, do you know? Because, like, we don't do that well. We normally, honestly, we typically end up in 4th. But we do get 3rd, 2nd, and we've gotten 1st a few times. But there's like a lot of groups typically at this trivia place that we go to. And like if you less than 10, more than 5, okay. Yeah, like this place usually has like 15, like 10 to 15 groups. But the final question at the trivia place we go to is a wager question, and that's typically where we F up. So you can wager 25 of your points, and obviously if you get it wrong, you lose all 25. Like, you can wager up to 25. So you can wager anywhere. You can wager nothing. You can wager anything between 0 and 25 points. But if you get it correct, then you get the 25 points added onto your total score. So there's been a few times that, like, we were, like, in 4th place, and we pretty much just said, like, fuck it. Like, wager all the points, because if we have it right, then at least we'll place. And then there's been a few times that we just had 0 clue on the wager question, so we bet 0, and we ended up getting bumped up because people that were in 1st, 2nd, or 3rd before the wager question thought they knew, and they bet their points and lost them. We usually lose on Gen Z questions because we're old fogies. I don't think our trivia lady typically has Gen Z questions. Like, she'll have, so like, she tends to have like certain categories that she repeats each week. Like, what, like, one, she'll ask you like about a video game. I see all, hear all, and know all. All. But like, she'll typically have like a video game themed question, like, what video game series contains titles by these names? And she'll like list like 2 or 3 titles. I typically never know those. I typically have no idea. And then there'll be one where she like pulls up like a cartoon character. And again, I typically don't know those because, again, I lived under a rock growing up. So, like, unless it was, like, Rugrats or Wild Thornberries, I'm not going to know it. So, like, sometimes she goes, like, super young, like a kid show that's on today, and that'll be, like, the cartoon character. And then other times she goes to, like, Hanna-Barbera era, you know? But she won't choose, like, Fred Flintstone or something obvious. It'll be something, you know, that I just don't know. But I typically come in clutch with music questions, Broadway questions. There's been a few photography questions. So that's typically where my strengths lie. Plus, I just know some other random things. But I love that Nigel Thornberry and Pennywise the Clown are the same person. Like the voice actor who voiced Nigel Thornberry is Pennywise? Are you serious? And which Pennywise? I'm never going to be able to look at Nigel Thornberry the same way. I'm going to be like, there's a Nigel Thornberry, aka Pennywise. That's crazy. I did not know that. Yeah, mind blown for sure. I feel the same way. I had no idea. I did not know that. I feel like you really do know all, don't you? Like, You would be a good trivia teammate. Oh, Bill Skarsgård is the new Pennywise. Hello, hello. Hi, Chespin. How are you doing today? I hope you had a good day. Are you on vacation yet from work? I know you said you were going to go on vacation. I just don't remember if it started. I doubt it started yet. Because I know who you're going to go see, and they're currently on vacation. So I bet it starts at the end of this week. Side note on that, Tim Curry's Pennywise made a cameo in the new movie. That makes sense. I feel like when they remake a movie, they try to get cameos in there to throw back to the original one. You had a pretty good day? That's good. That's good. Me too. I had a pretty low-key day. And then I streamed, and it's been awesome. Not yet. Planning on heading up Friday after work. Okay. Yeah, after I started thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, you're probably not on vacation yet. Because like I said, I know who you're going to go see. And I know they are currently out of town on vacation. So I'm like, well, why? Yeah. So after Friday. Okay. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. But yeah, so how was work today? Did you get to bring home some like good sides and stuff? Because let me tell you, you came in clutch. So I know Low Bass Guy and Dead Flies. I know Chespin like in person. And I had a board game night, like a board game party night at my house a couple weeks ago, the first Saturday of the month. And Chespin came in clutch. Like, so Chespin works at Chipotle and brought like all of these sides, and it was awesome. Like, he came in clutch. What are this? Oh, like the... Got it. I like the little arrow. So I know exactly what I'm looking at. Okay, so Tim Curry's the one that's like flopped over. So like I know I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the movie It. But I know like the gist of it. Am I just frozen on my laptop? Or am I like frozen? I think I'm just frozen on my laptop. Okay. I don't know why voice to text keeps putting is at the beginning of all of my sentences. Maybe it like, I don't know. I don't really ever use voice to text. I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. Wanna come here? Come here, Esty. Come on. Come on. You don't wanna come on? Oh, come here. Ugh. Ta-da! Hi, Esty. Oh, thank you for the kisses. Oh, thank you for the kisses. Voice to text needs stronger AI. That's fair. That's fair. He was in chat earlier. I don't know if he still is, but there was, his name is One Fire Shot, and I know he uses voice to text a lot, so maybe, I don't know if he's still here, but maybe he would know why. You're probably NAI. You know what? With all of your trivia knowledge, I'm on to you. I'm on to you. I mean, seriously, you do know a lot. You could be an AI. Alright, I'm joining your web creative community. Thank you again for sending that over. Start here. Oh, well that's cool. And there goes my northern accent there with the oh. And he's a bad influence. Gets you to buy gear you don't have money for. Low Bass Guy is. Is he like, buy this macro lens? You need it. Well, that's really cool. I'll have to go and apply to be a member of the team here after stream. Did you know that in addition to Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill played 2 other characters in the Star Wars movies? Well, like, I think he voiced Luke Skywalker in the Lego movies, right? But I didn't know that he played other characters in the Star Wars movies. I did not know that. Yes, he's. Oh, I was kidding. Yes, he's getting me to buy a macro lens at the moment, literally right now. That's funny. I was totally just, from what like I know about you guys from like the chat. I was just shooting off the hip, but apparently that was the right answer. I'm talking about the 9 of the main Star Wars movies. Okay. So, like, even the new ones. By all the things. Have you seen Empire Strikes Back? I have seen all 9 of the main Star Wars movies. How well I remember them is the question. But I have seen Empire Strikes Back, yes. But, like I said, it really depends on what I remember. I did remember what Ewoks are. Do I get a brownie point for that? I normally say the wrong ones. Like, I know Chewie is a Wookiee. And then, like, I know, like, the Ewoks are Ewoks. But for some reason, whenever I try to think of Ewok, my brain goes to Wookiee first. So I tend to normally say Wookiee first. I'm like, no, I mean Ewok. I don't know why. Maybe because they both have W-O and K's in the word. I don't know. But, so you remember when they were evacuating the Hoth base? And the voice comes over the intercom saying the first transport is on the way? No. But I believe you. Because I just don't know the names of things. Like, I don't know what specifically the Hoth base is. Like, I know Death Star, and I know Millennium Falcon. But that was Mark Hamill. Yeah, I figured that's where you're going with that. How did the Ewoks master the art of cosmetology? Not a joke, real question. I really thought it was going to be a joke. How did the Ewoks master the art of cosmetology? Like, what do you mean? Don't they have hands and stuff? Like, I'm Googling if Ewoks have hands. I think yes. Okay, you remember the casino scene in episode 8 where that little alien kept trying to put coins in BB-8? Yeah. So the little alien was Mark Hamill? Or are you, like, setting me up for failure now? They're a primitive race of beings, but yet they did up Leia's hair like pros. I see. Well, they have hair, like, all over their body, so they just, learned. Yeah. That little guy was voiced by Mark Hamill. Yeah. Do the female Ewoks have long hair or no? Is it are they like? Does the hair not vary between gender? Me over here googling stuff about Ewoks. Zeffy is a female Ewok. Zeffy. Oh, that does not look like the other. They have longer hair. It seems. I think. You remember in that same movie, the alien that was complaining to the police? Do you just like, do you watch the Star Wars movies and you can recite all the lines? Because I feel like you can. You remember in that same movie, the alien that was complaining to the police about the ship crashing on the beach? I did, like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He must have been really young, if I'm thinking of the right person. Okay, I take back the long hair comment, although Zeffy definitely has like these two braids that come down like really long, but otherwise it looks like what I thought was long hair is like that hood thing that they wear. You have a better one? Go for it. I am going to surprise my husband when he comes home from work tonight with all of this new Star Wars trivia knowledge that I am obtaining tonight. He's going to be like, did you watch Star Wars without me? I'm going to be like, no. Remember in episode 7, the stormtrooper that Rey mind tricked into letting her go? Yeah. Yeah. But, like, how do you know that? Because, like, I'm guessing he was in the credits. So that was the newest James Bond, huh? He's a stormtrooper now? But, yeah, braids. He was not in the credits. I see all, hear all, know all. No, that's pretty amazing that you know all of this stuff. Like I said, I had never saw Star Wars until into my adult years, because I just never had the opportunity when I was a kid. My parents didn't own them. Streaming wasn't a thing when I was a kid. Met my husband, and he made me watch them, I think, like a month into dating. He was baffled that I had never seen them, and he's like, we're watching these this weekend. We're having a Star Wars marathon. And that was it. And now we've had a few Star Wars marathons over, like, our years together. But my brain can't contain this much information. LBG is an AI. Boop, boop, beep, bop, boop. Total AI. But I saw the newest 3 episodes in theaters. Like, I went and saw each of them in the theater. Can I help you? Oh, Willow, are you going to say hi? Here's Willow. Yeah, everybody's gotten to see Aspen and Sequoia. Come here. Willow. Come on. Hi. Hi, Willow. Hi, Willow. Hi, Willow. Yeah, now everybody got to see all 3 of you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for visiting. Now you've seen all 3 dogs. They're all kind of just... Here's Willow. And then Aspen and Sequoia. And now Willow's standing too close to me, so all you see is the blur of her tail over here. Alright, bye Willow. Thanks for visiting. Willow, like I said, is my independent little dog. But as much as I want to continue, my floor vacuum starts at 7, and I just heard my RoboVac start, and I know he's going to come into this room soon, and it's going to be loud, so I should probably wrap it up. But Prince William and Prince Harry also had cameos as stormtroopers, but their scene was cut because they were too tall to be stormtroopers, especially Prince William. I didn't know there was a height limitation on stormtroopers, but now I do. But low base guy, you'll appreciate this. My robo vacuum that's about to invade is named Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're welcome. You're welcome. There's also a second one downstairs, but it's not Star Wars related. That one's Clean Latifah. Stop stream, go sit in the corner and think about what you just said. I am proud of what I just said. But yeah, I should probably end it here. I do see, so they are not an art streamer, but they're one of my good friends, so I'm going to figure out how to do this. We're gonna try to raid, if I can. I don't know if I can. Is raiding something you can only do after you have 50 followers? It might be. I don't know. Because I found out, so like I had 3 polls lined up to do in stream today. And I couldn't do my polls because I don't have 50 followers. And I was really sad. So I'm going to change my little bar that says I want emotes to say I want emotes and polls. Because that's where my priorities are, apparently. So yeah, I tried that, but I'm trying it over on my mod account. Obi-Wan Kenobi just lost the high ground and went down the stairs. Oops. Thanks for the great stream. Awesome raid choice. Well, thank you so much for coming in here. I really appreciate it. It was really nice to get to know other Artstream community members. And then type raid, username, and chat. Yeah, I have to do it on myself. Okay, that's what I thought, because I tried to do it as a mod. But, okay, so it's really weird. So, like, in my Streamlabs thing, it doesn't let me chat. So it does it in here. Hi. Here we go. Raid. Okay. I think I got it now. So now I just need to make sure I'm typing the name correctly. Will this work? Is the question. Probably have to do without the at. Ah! His raid settings don't allow me to raid. Fine, I'll try my other friend who's online. Wow. So it says their raid settings do not allow me to raid at this time, so I'm not sure what that means. But it's not letting me. Is it you? Or is it me? It says it's me. Means they've chosen to block raids. Okay. Well, then we just won't raid them. And that'll be that. And I'll just end stream. And they can just not have me raid. But no, seriously, thank you guys so much for coming in here tonight. It's been such a pleasure having you. I hope to see you guys again. I will go and follow. So Low Bass Guy, I know you stream because I shouted you out. Does Deadfly, do you stream? Because after this, I was going to go click on your guys' names and follow you. Oh, sorry. If you can hear him barking. He's a music streamer. Okay. So I'll go and follow you both after this stream. Thank you so much for dropping in. Like I said, it was such a pleasure having you. Really, I just can't stop smiling thanks to you guys. So thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, evening. I don't know what time it is where you guys are. Thank you. Glad to have you. Been an awesome time. Thank you so much. Again, greatly appreciate you guys. This has been so fun having you here. Hope to see you guys again. I'll go follow you on stream so that I can start watching you guys as well. But like I said, thank you. I hope you have a wonderful evening, day, morning, whatever time it is where you are. Just have a good one. Thank you again so much. Appreciate it.